The Isle of Arran lies in the Firth of Clyde, off Scotland's west coast. Often called Scotland in miniature, it reflects the country's diversity, with rugged granite peaks in the north, soft green lowlands in the south, and a coastline carved by time and tide. Over the next few days, we'll travel around the island by sea kayak, following its shifting shoreline and changing weather, tracing a path shaped by nature and history. An hour-long ferry ride from the mainland arrives into the island's largest town, Brodick. From Brodick, we head southwards, towards the small village of Kildonan. While much of Arran's shoreline is rugged and rocky, the sandy beaches here offer a natural place to launch. Out across the water, the island of Pladda rises low on the horizon, its lighthouse standing watch. And beyond it, the solitary hump of Ailsa Craig, distant and almost half lost in the haze. I've completed this trip once before, a few years ago with my friend Joe, a seasoned kayak guide from Northern Ireland. Once again we'll paddle together, this time additionally joined by 4 of Joe's clients, Angus, Lorna, Marie and Albert.
No, maybe.
At a small slipway in Kildonan, we gather in the grey morning light. Paddles, dry bags and quiet conversations fill the air as we pack our boats, the sea stretching out ahead, textured with gentle swell. Taking the week's forecast into account, an anti-clockwise circumnavigation of the island favours the best passage for the expected conditions. As we push off from the shore, the world beyond the water begins to fall away, and my thoughts and focus turn to the journey that lies ahead. Our journey begins along the southeastern shore, slipping through the sound of Pladda and rounding Dippin Head. We follow the curve of Whiting Bay, the land rising gently to our left, before setting our course for Holy Island, a small sacred outpost nestled in Lamlash Bay, just off Arran's eastern shore. Centuries of spiritual tradition, Holy Island today is home to a Buddhist monastery and a scattered population of sheep, goats and horses. We skirt the island's outer edge, the rugged shoreline unfolding before us, before turning inland to find our landing place near its sheltered northwestern corner. Once the kayaks are secured safely above the high water mark, we turn our attention to setting up camp. We keep a respectful distance from both the monastery and the island's other residents, although a few goats seem unfazed by our presence, calmly grazing nearby. Mealtimes offer a welcome chance to pause, a time to rest, share stories and to let the day's miles sink in. While we prepare dinner, I start to know my fellow paddlers a little better. A blend of English, Irish and Scottish voices fills the air, and a shared humour quickly weaves its way between us, binding the group with an easy, familiar warmth. Morning drifts in quietly. We wake slowly, layering ourselves against the chill, hands wrapped around the comfort of warm coffee. The day ahead unfolds in low voices and quiet plans, shaped by the tides and wind. Little by little, the campsite stirs to life, gear packed away, kayaks readied, and the water once again calling us onward. After a careful sweep of the site to ensure nothing has been left behind, we launch into the soft ripples of Machrie Bay and begin our journey north. The morning unfolds gently, the land soft with the gold of gorse blossoms and the first delicate colours of spring. The air carries the soft scent of wild garlic mingling with the salt from the sea. We steer towards Brodick, lured by the promise of strong local coffee and the chance to stretch our legs, sharing a few easy words with a group of fellow kayakers that we meet along the way. A gentle following sea nudges us northwards to the small village of Corrie, where we land our kayaks in the harbour and relax with some lunch. By late afternoon, we come ashore at North Sannox. The grass slopes gently towards the water, dotted here and there with the quiet signs of other travellers. We lift the kayaks beyond the reach of the tide and find our place along the edge of the land, a simple clearing with wide open views across the sea. The day softens around us as we settle down for a shared meal.
It's like, oh no. Maggie just knows no set it, no flanker, so like Jimmy plug outside them.
As night falls and we settle into our sleeping bags, the soft break of waves against the rocky shore becomes a lullaby. Carried by the rhythm of the water, sleep comes easily. As the morning sun spills soft light across the glen, catching the dew on the grass, we stir quietly and rise to meet the day. By now, the rhythms of the island have woven into us, a quiet alignment of body and earth, where time is measured only by light, wind and tide. Morning brings the now familiar rhythm, the quiet work of carrying and loading the kayaks, each movement part of a pattern that feels natural and unhurried. With the tide high, we slip easily from the grassy shore into the small river that threads its way to the open sea, carried forward by the gentle pull of the water. Drifting with the gentle swell, I find myself thinking of my father, a Navy man, sadly gone years before I started paddling. My kayak was built in his memory, its colours chosen from those he loved most. Sometimes, in moments like this, I wonder what he'd make of it all. Me, once so uneasy around the sea, now charting quiet journeys along it. Rounding the northern tip of Arran, we arrive in Lochranza, a small village tucked around a sheltered bay. There's an excellent distillery here, but today we're bound for humbler rewards, the sandwich station, a small gem near the ferry slipway where the scent of fresh bread and an array of gourmet sandwich fillings await. No trip to Arran is complete without a visit here. As we reach our campsite, the weather begins to shift. A fresh wind stirs and dark clouds gather overhead. Moments later, the rain sweeps in, the sudden drumming force that drives us to shelter.
Whoa. How are we feeling, guys?
When the cloudburst passed, we gathered again for our evening meal. Conversation flowed easily, laughter, quiet reflections and thoughts of the journey still to come.
So there's a whole selection of really good apps to start I just finished with
The gentle hush of the incoming tide against the rocks folded around us, deepening the sense of being tucked away from the wider world. As the last colours of the day faded from the sky, we lit a small fire on the stony shore, its flickering warmth carrying us gently towards sleep. So we originally were going to do this over 5 days, but with Friday's weather forecast really having turned rather nasty, we've decided to rather do quite a big push today and actually finish the trip today on the fourth day of paddling instead. So we've got quite a long day, about 30 kilometers to go. We'll take a couple of stops as we go along, but it's going to be a pretty big day for most of us, I think. Thankfully, the forecast is looking pretty nice. It's pretty calm and flat out there, and we're not really expecting that to change too much. So fingers crossed everything goes according to plan. As we move through the familiar rhythm of packing and loading our gear, our thoughts turn to the long day ahead. For some in the group, it will be their first time paddling such a distance, and a quiet undercurrent of uncertainty lingers in the morning air. Our first leg will carry us south to the small town of Blackwaterfoot, where, for those who may need it, the road offers a chance to rest and complete the journey by other means. Despite a favourable forecast, our plan to cut directly across Machrie Bay was quickly undone by a sudden surge of wind, funneling fiercely across the open water. With the weariness of several days now settling into our limbs, every headwind felt like something to be pushed through, not just physically, but in spirit too. Paddling southwards, we pass the King's Caves, a cluster of sea-worn chambers carved into the cliffs many thousands of years ago, when the sea stood much higher than it does today. Local legend tells that Robert the Bruce once sought refuge within these ancient walls, their shadows holding echoes of a distant past. Reaching the halfway point of the day's journey, we gather over a simple lunch to weigh our options. For those feeling weary, the road offers a way out, but perhaps it's the comfort of hot rolls and a splash of ginger beer that lifts our spirits. In the end, the decision is unanimous. We will press on together and see the day through. Eventually, we round the island's southwestern tip, and ahead of us, the small familiar shape of the island of Pladda appears on the horizon, its lighthouse almost shining in the late afternoon sun. As we return to our starting point and lift our boats from the water for the final time, I find myself reflecting on the journey behind us. It's funny to think that just days ago we were strangers, now bound by tides, weather, and the quiet resilience that comes from sharing a challenge. As the sea slips away behind us, a deep, quiet satisfaction and joy sets in, the kind that only comes from journeys that ask something of you and give something greater in return.